So what I'm going to talk about today are something called Gamebooks. Gamebooks, and I've subtitled this "Read or Die." In fact, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. If the students don't read, they die. And this is a kind of extensive reading material that that I've tried over the years with my senior high school students. And I work in a senior high school, private senior high school, where but it's a sports high school. So most of the kids think American football, or they think soccer, and coming to class and studying English is just something they do when they're not doing training for sports, 6 days a week, sports. So I have quite low motivated students. And usually I teach oral communication there, but I had an opportunity to try to do some reading work with them, to try and get them a little bit, to see if I could get them motivated to read. And these are kids who don't often read in Japanese, never mind reading in English. So I went back to my experience when I was a kid about what did I read, what made me want to read, in fact, what did I read? And as well as reading books, I also read these game books. And to tell you what a game book is, very simple, I'm going to show you, and we can do it together so you can understand very well. But first, a game book will have some kind of character sheet. So this is you. You have a presence in the story. You have a presence in the story, and you have hit points. Hit points or health. If your hit points become 0, you are dead, and you must start the book again. Again, we motivate our students to read by gradually killing them. In this particular book that we're going to be doing today, the students had equipment. So this was equipment that they could find in the story, and they'd write down what they found. In this particular book, only 4 items they were allowed. So throughout the book, they were making choices about what equipment they thought they would need, what they wouldn't need, based on the information they were reading in the story. And they could take notes about, maybe they got some clues or hints or advice or information in the story that they were going to use later. So in this particular book, hit points, equipment, notes. In other books we've used timers, where the students have to keep a record of time as it goes towards 0. When they get to 0, kaboom, game over. So that's our character sheet. So all of the students have one of these before they read, and then they start reading. So let's go. Here's the first bit of reading. Very short, very easy. You are very happy. Yay! You are on an airplane, and you are flying from Hawaii to the tropical island of Oahu. You are surprised because you are the only passenger on this small, old airplane. Uh-oh. The plane begins to shake, and the fasten seatbelt sign goes on. What will you do? Will you put on your seatbelt? Or continue eating your lunch? Very difficult decision. Right. So, one way we have the students work is on their own. So, they read the book, they look at the book, they make the decision based on their own reading. Another thing that we do with the students is they work in pairs, and at this point they have to discuss, speaking in English, what they want to do. So, let's just take a quick poll of this room here. So, who thinks we should put on the seatbelt? Oh, very sensible. Okay, and continue eating your lunch. Excellent. Very, very much like my students. Oh, it's only a plane. Okay, but let's say you take the sensible approach based on common sense, and you fasten your seatbelt. Good idea. And oh no, the plane drops and everything goes black. Don't worry. Let's go to 15. You end up. You feel cold and you have a headache. You unfasten your seatbelt and stand up a little. Okay, so we continue with the story. Okay, no problem. We made the right choice. However, making the wrong choice, we decided we wouldn't fasten our seatbelt. We're just gonna go and we're just gonna go for it. Unfortunately, the shaking gets worse. Uh-oh, you made a bad decision. You ignored the sign, and now you've lost 1 hit point. Uh-oh, we're heading for disaster. And now we have another choice. You get one more chance. It's shaking is getting worse. Now will you put on your seatbelt or continue eating? Of course, the sensible decision. Put on your seatbelt. But I teach 16, 17-year-old boys. So what's the more fun thing? Oh, let's continue eating. Yeah, very dangerous situation. Eat my bento. And what happens? Oh, suddenly the plane drops and you fly quickly. Everything is back. Go to 46 and you are dead. If the students make foolish choices, if they ignore common sense, if they ignore the information written in the story, then they die. They lose their hit points, or immediately they die. Once the students have done this once or twice and they think it's really funny, they start reading slightly better, slightly more focused reading. Yeah, but that's the basic idea of the game books. Numbered sections, we keep them really short numbered sections, because when a kid sees a full page of text, the first thing they do is fall asleep. So we keep the sections really short, everything, 3 sentences, 4 sentences, make a choice. 3 sentences, 4 sentences, make a choice. So they don't get bored, they don't get overwhelmed with so much text. I know if I look at a whole page of Japanese, I can't read it. I haven't tried, but I can't read it. But if I see a little bit of text, oh, I can do that. And then the kids end up reading a lot, because it's nice, small chunks. So, some of the decisions in the book rely on common sense, and sometimes using key information that they have read. So if they read carefully, they will live longer. So here's an example. Also from this book, which is called Snake Island. They meet the pilot, but the pilot is dying in the cockpit, yeah? So the pilot is awake again. He starts to talk. Soon we'll be over Snake Island. The ocean is too warm for fish. Only snakes live on the island, and the pirates. Okay, so we give them some information about the island. Some of the kids, ignore the information, right? But some of the kids, okay, so we've got no fish and only snakes on the island, and pirate, all right, good. You can't hear him anymore. The pilot listens to questions, he asks. Will you ask him a question? Or get a parachute and leave? No, okay, let's ask him a question, because we need more information about Snake Island. And so what will you ask him? What animals live on the island? Or is there food on the island? Now, the pilot already told you there's only snakes on the island. So if the students decide to go 25, they waste their time and they waste their chance to get more information. So, is there food on the island? They ask the pilot, and they get some information. The cactus, you can eat the top black part, but it's difficult to get. The cacti are tall and sharp. You must cut the cactus. And this will help them later when they have to decide what equipment they will take from the airplane to take onto the island and survive. So information they get here will help them choose the right equipment, take them to the island, and then they can survive on the island. So basically, they don't die. Reading, read or die. Oh, sorry, yeah, that was it. If they make the wrong choice and they ask the question about, are there any animals, they already know. The pilot already said, so he says it again. Snakes, only snakes. I told you. So it goes on. The students make choices based on information, based on common sense, based on pictures, based on puzzles about how to get to the next text section. How am I doing for time? Oh, 1 minute. Okay, right. So observation, we watched the students, what happened? The students were quiet, they were reading. We didn't see any students looking out the window. This book was better than looking out the window. Woo! This is good. We found the students, they were talking to each other sometimes. Hey, what are you talking about? Talking about the book, not about the soccer game, not about what they were going to have for lunch. We also, the students spontaneously started working together. They decided that they wanted to do it with a partner. Sometimes they do this in Japanese to start with, and we'd encourage them to use English, but often they go straight into English to make their decisions and discuss in English. Fantastic. So then that's how we kind of discovered that this discussion style was kind of great for some students. They like talking, discussing, working together with a partner, whereas some students were quite happy to do these books on their own. And we gave a bit of a questionnaire in Japanese at the beginning of the class. I like reading books in English. They had to write on the scale. This is all in Japanese, and first year students, 2.5, you know, kind of okay, and second year students. At the end of the class, I like reading this book. Oh, very nice. So, a bit of statistical data seeming to support our idea that this kind of reading material is motivating for the students. They like to do it. If you want any more information, please contact me. I have these books. I will give them to you for free. Now, that's it.